and myself, Pat Hartzell, Chair. All right. Items on the agenda today. I'll get a few cited copies. Here, first item on the agenda. Introduction to staff. May we introduce all of you to Dalton Castle, who's here joining us. I'm going to forget his formal title, zoning administrator and or a whole bunch of other stuff. We welcome him. Dalton, just a brief couple of comments about from whence you come and your background a bit, and we'd love to hear from you.
Hi, yes. So I graduated from Michigan State University and I worked for a few years with the city of Flint on their zoning team. And I'm excited to be a part of the city of St. Joseph and work with you all.
All right, well, we're not going to hold the Spartan thing against him, right?
I might.
All right. Well, I could, but all right, we'll move on. All right, moving on. The next item on the agenda, approval of the minutes from the February 5th Planning Commission meeting presented to you in draft form. In your packets, ladies and gentlemen, are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, motion, please, to adopt the minutes.
So moved.
I have a motion, Mr. Everett, to adopt the minutes. Do I have support for his motion?
Support.
Thank you, Ms. Burzak. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are adopted as submitted. Next item on the agenda. New business, public hearing with regard to a request for a major modification of the PUD with regard to what I'll call the Harbor Shores development project. I will open public hearing on that. Do we have someone here to speak to this request? Let me guess. I'm sorry. Oh, we do have a couple. Oh, we have two. Well, we have two things to address before the public hearing is open. Mr. Smith, I understand you are recusing on this. You want to just make a short record on the basis for that, please?
Yeah, sure. I spoke with Lori here this afternoon. I have a real estate license and my license is with Wright Properties, Carrie Wright, who's intimately connected to Harbor Shores. And after speaking with Lori, we thought it was probably best to recuse myself from this portion. Exclusive
So
listing
it's not
agent.
just,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
was the sole selling agent and
No,
you work
exclusive
through that
list.
office?
Yes.
So a definite business meeting. And Ms. Burzak?
And I'm with Avonmarsh and I actually prepared the plans that you're going to look at, so I didn't think
You
that-
two will get to know each other very well.
Yeah.
If you don't already. So both of you are recruiting for that reason.
Yep.
All right, go be comfortable, read a book. Somebody will come find you.
Okay.
Council, I assume you concur on, obviously on both of those. Okay. All right. Then, Mr. Cook, now to our applicant is here. If you'd like to come forward, tell us what you're asking for and what you're requesting from the commission.
Are asking for approval for your recommendation to the city commission. The final approval of this what's now called a major amendment. I do have some boards I'd like to bring up closer to you. I'll try to make it so the audience can see them well. And I'll move it around as needed. So this is, it's upside down. That's how you trick you. This is intended to show the differences between this plan, our current plan and the prior plan and the improvements that we have made in that regard. Also with today is Tim DeRouge from Avonmarsh, who helped with the preparation of the plan. So the first thing I think to be noted is that we reduced the unit count by 1. Previously, we had 6 units in the blue area here. Now there are 5. The blue area also includes what was paved area and patios and stairs. So that's the first thing. The second is that we were able, with that process, to improve units 117 and 118. Particularly those two, all of them got wider, obviously, with going from 6 to 5. But we are still able to comply with all of the setback requirements with 117 and 118, the two to the north. The third thing is that we modified the access from this alleyway, I'm gonna call it here, which actually resulted in 2 dead ends. So we had a dead end off of the alleyway and then a dead end off the current Water's Edge Lane. So we found an opportunity to remedy that. Currently, people park what I would term illegally at the end of this street. There's a parking lot right here that's public. And some folks think it better to kind of pull up into here off the parking lot in what's called the street. We don't like that. There's also some drainage issues down here at the end, which we'll be able to correct by extending the road. So you'll have an actual road that comes into this site rather than what I term another alley. And so a number of things result from that, which is firstly, some additional parking is provided then for these units that have now a longer driveway. Previously, the alleyway came right up to the garage door, so there was no additional space. Any guests would have had to park in the public parking area, which is fine, just a little bit more of a walk. We think it's an improvement to be able to park on a number of these units in what you would consider more of a driveway. The other thing is this southernmost unit, 121 right here. And we're able to move a little bit, just a few feet to the north, which gives us a little bit more separation to this southerly property line. And in the process of that, we've asked to have the setback, this is in our request, setback changed from 15 feet to 7 feet. And that allows the patios to be compliant within, well within the 7-foot setback. Additionally there, the 15 feet was originally part of the many years ago PUD, because this site was planned to be another hotel or condo building that was going to be massive. Many stories. We've since changed that plan to these 5 townhomes. So a larger setback for a larger building feels unnecessary at this time. And 7 feet is what is used everywhere else within the development. So we'd like to do that so we can build better decks and have better outdoor spaces for folks, especially on unit 121 there. We've also improved the balconies and porches. So the porches before were these blue squares here. It's hard to see on this, but perhaps you can see it on your drawings that the those porches are a little bit larger now, which that outdoor space is key for folks we have found. So we want to make sure we're able to do that. One other thing is there was a previously approved 3-foot setback that allowed this garage that's in blue right here to exist. With this reconfiguring and improving of this plan, it now comes 90 degrees here, here, here. And so we want to extend that 3-foot setback a little further until it meets up with the 7-foot. So that was 10.2 feet more of that 3-foot setback. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh, I will add that previously, the prior plan that is, had a garage right here in what is now unit 120, and a garage right here, which is in 121, which I know that question came up before the planning commission before was, you know, how are we going to make sure they get along? Because they're going to be right next to each other. This plan allows a little better separation in that regard, which we thought was a huge improvement to what's going to be a really nice unit right on the river there. Also, with this whole plan, we've been able to improve the grading plan, which allows us to provide a lot more landscaping. We think it's going to look a whole lot nicer, minimizes any impacts along the boundary here with the trail. Basically, just works, again, a whole lot nicer. I do know that there's been a couple of issues raised by the fire guys. And, I think that their concerns are easily addressed. And we're gonna meet with them next week, by the way.
We were kind of hoping that would have occurred before today.
Me too. But we could not make that happen. However, the previous plan, this shows how a fire truck would kind of enter that alleyway. And it was a bit awkward, but they could make it. So we designed it so that it would meet the fire protection standards there. Currently, one of the concerns was that if it's more than 150 feet long from the last turning point, then it requires a turnaround. Well, this one certainly didn't have a turnaround, and that was approved. This does have a turnaround. Well, this one has the same one, I suppose. In that, you can easily make the turn on Mariners Cove. We've shown that, we've designed it with that in mind. And this distance from here to here is not 150 feet, so we are in compliance. We just need to kind of show that and prove that to them. Not sure they understood fully what was going on here. So I'm again confident that we're gonna be able to work through that particular issue. And then the other was access to boats, if there were to be a boat fire. This plan again is an improvement over what was there previously approved. Fire guys had no issue with it when it was approved prior. But just to assure you how we feel confident again that this does not create any issues, is that there are numerous points where you can access the slips in the case of a fire. Further to the west on the site, there's a plaza green space that's going to be created in the part where we're under construction right now. 30-foot opening, you know, you can run your hoses and maybe even bring a truck up through there if needed. That was done on purpose. Next to that, a little further down to the south, we have the waterfront green. You can run hoses through the green to get there. There's also space between condo units within Mariners Cove, which is just over here. That you can run hoses up through. Same, right here, the sidewalk. On our actual site, there's a sidewalk space. Hook onto the hydrant, and run out there. And furthermore, you can take it around on the path. If there's a fire on a boat, we're not gonna worry about a non-motorized restriction on the path to get a fire truck across here, and there's lots of space out over here for them to set up and fight a fire if they needed to get out to that farthest point within the marina. So again, I would like to have had those issues resolved before today with them. I've been in some correspondence with Dalton about this. He's helped try to coordinate this meeting for next week. But certainly I could see from your standpoint, if you wanted to put that as a condition of any approval, I would understand that, because we want to make sure they sign off on it. And so that's kind of the improvements that we've made. I think this is a really great plan that will sell well and be another asset to our community at Harbor Shores. So I suppose there's opportunity for public or questions or whatever.
Well,
I'll
we'll
leave that
start
to
with the
you.
commission, but I want to go back. I'm still adjusting. We've got kind of a new system in our pack. The specific, we're looking for the itemized specific requests you are making from us today. And it's the reduction of the unit. If someone can cite me to the top of page where that.
Page 8.
Thank you, Ms. Porter. Okay, all right, yep. There we go. All right. The access, is that the 26 foot, the question with regard to the driveway? I just reduced the number from 6 to 5, modify the access from Water's Edge Lane to Mariners Cove to the subject site.
That's.
Okay. Reduce the originally approved 15 southwest setback to 7. We covered that. And the length at which previous 3 setback. Okay, on unit 121, we did talk about those. You have 4 specific requests from us.
That's correct.
Okay, I just want to highlight. Thank you. All right, questions for Mr. Cook? We'll start with the commissioners. Questions or comments or anything?
The reduction of the 15-foot to 7-foot setback, that's just to support a patio only? Would you be receptive to a proposal that states only for the purpose of a patio or a deck?
Yes.
I didn't get a chance to walk down the site. Are there fire hydrants near the marina?
There are some near the marina. There's one specifically right at the edge of the waterfront green that sits right there. I'm not aware of any others, Tim.
That's the one that comes to mind with me.
I'm just trying to think how, the fire protection approach, if that helps with fire protection's concerns.
It certainly does, because you can hook onto that and get almost anywhere within the marina. That's why it was set up that way.
Other questions for Mr. Cook? All right, we'll give you a short break and open it up for public. This is a public hearing. We have anybody that would like to address us with regard to this proposal? We've got public here. This is your chance. Close public hearing. All right, was there any, Counselor Dalton, any citizen comment, email, correspondence, anything? Normally that's in our packet, but may have come in since the packet went out. Indicating opposition, support, or anything? Or Kelly, you're blocked by the charts. Someone brought charts. That's all right. I can see it. Any citizen comment or
We have
concern?
not received any additional comments since the packets went out now.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thoughts, comments, discussion?
Yeah, I mean, I walked the site and there is plenty of room, as Mr. Cook pointed out, there at the point of the river and the marina. That with the motorized path there, I think there's ample opportunity to get one of the smaller fire vehicles down and around there. With the retaining wall that's already in place, I don't see where they were gonna get a fire truck as close as what the comments led me to believe anyway. So I don't share those concerns.
All right, thank you, Mr. Everett. Anyone else?
Did we need to discuss any of the other engineering concerns, like on packet page 53?
Which one?
I didn't know if there were, we had some engineering concerns on the departmental reviews. Like the location of the water main, water shut-offs needing to be adjusted, et cetera. I don't know if,
All right, were these, I want to, well, let's get a clarification
Sure.
then from Dalton Kelly. Were these specific requests or concerns of our engineering department? It just says notes.
Yeah, engineering's comments were more so in regard to clarifying the approvals that will be required and permits after approval of the PUD before completion of the development.
So this really wasn't directed to us?
No, this is just their comments on the project.
Oh,
and it's not
in
meant-
general comments?
General comments.
Mr. Cook is aware of these?
Correct, yeah, those were forwarded as part of our communications.
and these would be managed in the permitting and inspection process?
Correct.
Thank you.
If I may add furthermore, those comments that were technical in nature have already been addressed.
All right, go ahead, Mr. No, I didn't mean to cut you off.
So I guess for maybe a question for city staff. So let's say the applicant and fire protection meet and they don't agree.
So in the event alterations had to be made, my intent was that our discussion tonight would involve potential changes that may occur. What was discussed was possibly reducing that setback, so the request is for 7 feet. The fire department is concerned they may need additional space, so this could involve a reduction in that reduction. So instead of reducing from 15 feet to 7 feet, possibly 15 feet to 10 feet or somewhere else within that range. would be the main change that would occur. They also, the idea had been tossed around of requesting an additional fire hydrant, kind of more towards that south corner, closer to the river. Those were some options that were discussed, and those would be the most likely changes. In the event changes that completely overhaul the plan occur, this would likely have to come back to the planning commission.
Other questions or comments?
And then one other question for staff. On the staff recommendations, you had one that all proper permits and procedures have been filed and approved. Do we think that's necessary in a recommendation?
That's more so just a catch-all in terms of staying consistent throughout the process and assuring that engineering's concerns regarding proper permits for connections to the sanitary and water mains are pulled correctly. So
But it is required by ordinance.
it's required by the ordinance. It's just kind of doubling up and being consistent across and maintaining clear communication throughout.
That's kind of just in, for history for us that, those things do periodically come up. We've been pretty confident with the inspection process and permitting process, controlling those things. Thank you.
Anybody else? I'll throw one out for philosophy only, and no, don't read anything into this. Traditionally, and I mentioned this individually to Dalton. Traditionally, we have not passed on things where there was an open question, particularly with regard to safety and security and fire protection. That's a big deal. And landscaping is too, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying when you get the fire department may have an issue, our ears perk up. And it's sort of, how do you want to approach this? Because to Mr. Miller's earlier comment, the meeting, which typically would have been before today, and I understand things happen. If there is not a meeting of the minds, either we have to come up with a set of conditions and things making our motion 2 to 3 pages long, or we are, my words, nobody else is, kind of punning to the city commission to resolve a possible issue or take a position if they don't meet. We have passed something. Either we have to have very clear our criteria, or somehow this ends up with the city commission and they're used to our things coming to them with these kinds of things resolved. And I'm not saying that's fine. They're perfectly capable of making a decision. It's just a little different than how we normally do things. So I just want to make sure everyone's comfortable with that, or looking for suggestions from staff if we decide to send something on to the city commission today without this issue being resolved, how it best, what form is best from the city's perspective to go up to the city commission, and what you'd be looking for from us to ensure that this gets addressed satisfactorily. And I'm like I said, I'm just throwing that out. If everybody's comfortable with it, so be it. It's just a little different than what we have traditionally done. So I just pointed out and look for guidance.
I'm comfortable with it, with how Mr. Cook has presented it. I think the most egregious, if you will, or concerning that the fire department might have is the 7-foot setback, which we have numerous 7-foot setbacks already within the PUD. And when you look at the location of that 7-foot setback, there's open space to the south of it. There's also a retaining wall there. I mean, if they need more space to operate, the space is there. I think we've addressed the turning in the 150 feet or whatever it was. I think that's been addressed. If they want a fire hydrant, that's a no-brainer. We give them a fire hydrant. So in my mind, there is no issue here.
Thank you, Mr. Just curiosity from staff's perspective, if fire hydrant, that would be a minor adjustment to the PUD. That would not, they don't have to come back to us for that.
Correct. So the only item which triggered this to be a major amendment was the decrease or
In the units.
approved setback, because that is increasing the overall buildable area.
Yeah.
All of the applicant's other requests could have theoretically been handled under a minor amendment. Since they kind of came in batch, we thought it'd be best resolved under one item.
Makes sense. Any other questions or comments, ladies and gentlemen? If not, what is your pleasure this afternoon?
The only other thing I'll
Uh,
mention, just the
please.
staff memo, packet page 52 at the top, factor H. I think, there was a request that the planning commission discuss the standard further to determine if it's satisfactorily met. And that was, access off of Whitlam.
Say again? Access up of what?
Off of Whitlam, third paragraph down. under
Okay.
Staff response, the last sentence, it's just suggesting that there's further discussion by the planning commission on that standard.
Can you spot that for us where,
It's not on there because it's
oh,
way out at Whitwam Drive where there's plenty of access to this site. I'm
okay,
puzzled by the question,
all right.
but, there are
Well, I'll just.
several access points off of Whitwam Drive that are no different than they were.
Well, we may not know if it.
It was kind of a green space.
With minor modifications being
Open
limited
space.
to roads within the interior area of the hut.
Apologies, just to clarify, the intent with furthering the discussion wasn't necessarily regarding the portion of the standard about the access. It was more so in regards to the statement about linear trails and park systems, as part of this development, a big talking point has been the amount of open space that is provided. So this reduction in the setback would be a slight reduction in the amount of open space provided on that south corner there.
Do we feel that that somehow gets us away from the original intent of the PUD? Is that kind of the gist?
Exactly, yes.
Show us the open space in controversy with the fire trucks is right there and where Mr. Everett referenced
So.
and the
this is our
retaining wall.
property Right here, we're asking for a 7-foot setback
Right.
here. The access for the fire trucks is ample as Mr. Ebert pointed out.
That,
The
is that
change
your
from the-
property or is that, no, that's still part of your property or not?
No, this is the linear park property is actually owned by the city of St. Joe and Benton
And,
Harbor
and
jointly.
cities, yes.
And so, that's going to continue. The linear trail and park remains forever in perpetuity. You own it. So that I think is, pretty stable. The change of, setback from 15 to 7 arguably could add some more, hard surface, which you can see from our plan is not going to, except for this patio. And there are some facts and figures within the application that showed that the percent of open space is still very compliant. That's on an overall basis of the development. Has to be more than 50%, and it's like 50-some%. Forget the exact number. It's in there.
With your proposed modifications as you've calculated.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cook. What else? And ladies and gentlemen, what is your pleasure?
I would make a motion.
Mr. Everett,
I would move to recommend approval of the proposed Harbor Village and Harbor Shores PUD amendments for the property located at 800 Whitwam Drive, submitted by Harbor Shores Community Redevelopment on March 9th, 2026, as the application has met both the site plan review standards of 12.6.1 and the plan unit development standards of 13.6.1. And that the planning commission's decision is based on the findings and recommendations of the St. Joe City staff reported April 2nd, 2026, which are hereby incorporated by reference.
all right, thank you, Mr. Everett. I have a motion. Do I have support for his motion?
Support.
Ms. Rice supports the motion. Is there further discussion on the motion?
I do have some clarification requested. There were 2 conditions above that motion suggested by staff. Would your motion incorporate those conditions? And the second question I have is what was raised by Mr. Miller with these 7-foot setback being only for purposes of a patio or deck.
Mr. Abbott, your thoughts, or you need a moment to read? those proposed conditions?
Proper permits and procedures, I think that's a little redundant, but I'm fine if we need to have that. And I believe that, they will work out the public safety department's concerns. So if, yes, I could.
What
include-
about the patio deck for the 7 foot, for that purpose?
I'm not so passionate about that, but if we need to, I'm fine, comfortable with it.
Well, it's your motion. So,
Sure, I'd be willing to include that as well.
all right, you're including that and you're including the other proposed.
Sure, yes, the other two suggested conditions.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
just as I look closely at this, this garage. This is the new proposed garage right here. Goes into the 15-foot setback, and so that doesn't require 7 feet, but it requires some number of feet here. That's why we asked for 7, because that was more typical. So I'd rather not us be out of compliance with something that's within the 15 feet, or outside of whatever number we come up with, so, I'd rather you strike that one from it.
which one?
The
Limited to patio and,
limited to
Patio
patio,
and
we
deck.
do have this garage within
I
the
see.
beyond 15 feet.
Yeah, that corner right there.
yep, amenable, Mr. Everett?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
All right. All right, so the motion as formed has the two proposed conditions from staff, but does not contain the limitation to patio and deck for the 7 foot, as I understand your motion.
Correct.
Does that alter your support for the motion, Ms. Rice?
I'm good.
Support for the motion. Further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, clerk may call the roll.
Chair Hartzell,
Yes.
Vice Chair Heber,
Yes.
Commissioner Burzak has recused, Commissioner Rice,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith has recused, Commissioner Plicka,
Yes.
Commissioner Porter,
Yes.
Commissioner Ulrich is not present, Commissioner Miller.
Yes.
When does Mr. Clerk go to the city commission? Do we know? Do we have a tentative date for when they will be heading to the city commission?
Next available meeting would be the 21st, I believe, because we, 27th? Okay.
Well, Mr. Cook will stay, he'll stay in touch and you with him is just that.
Yes, and, thank you, first of all, and second of all, we would not take it to the city commission if we're not resolved with the fire guys, so, we wouldn't take the contingency to the steps, we should have that resolved.
You're welcome anytime, sir. But we hope, I'm sure, confident we'll get that resolved. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, text amendments, lots and yards.
Do I have to bring them back?
I'm sorry, yes.
She- Lori just went.
Lori's already on her way.
They don't get to stay out.
No, council is all over that.
Okay.
All right, and this involves, public hearing on the proposed ordinance changes, so I'm going to open the public hearing with regard to the text amendments, lots and yards. All right, we've spent much time, on these issues and lots of conversation, discussion, a lot of staff time and effort and assistance in getting us to where we're at today. So we concluded at the conclusion of the last discussion we had this, it was ready to come to us on a public hearing. I've opened the public hearing. The proposed ordinance changes have been provided to you along with the drawings we've been working on for some time. And before we open up for citizen comment, ask if any of the commissioners have any follow-up questions for staff or discussion, or Mr. Everett.
Packet page 58. The lot in the lower left-hand corner.
All right, where is it? Oh, there it is. Corner lot.
To my knowledge, I don't believe we have. Well, the long and the short of it is, I don't think the alley dividing that from a front yard prevents that lot from having a secondary front yard.
So the ordinance, would. So in reference to it being a corner lot or a through lot, for clarification?
Well, it's a corner lot
Yeah.
and there's houses that front on the street to the north of it, if the up is north. And it's separated by an alley, not a street.
Correct, yes, so looking at this, my interpretation would be that because there is a lot in between, that yes, this should be a secondary front on that corner there facing the other street.
I agree.
The lower one should be a secondary front.
Correct, so in figure 2.8A, the bottom left lot, which is separated by alley, that corner lot should have a secondary front yard.
Mhm.
We haven't always treated them differently.
For alley.
Yeah, because there was a alley there, and, I can think of one over by you that was, in Hutchinson and Niles. They have a fence that is 6 feet that went on the whole side of the side.
Correct?
Yes, you know which one I'm talking
Yeah,
about. Yeah, because.
but there are no houses that front on Hutchison.
But because of the alley
There is no alley.
behind that one?
Across the street from my house?
No, it's on Niles. Go towards Niles.
Yeah.
And it's the blue with the tan, they put in a new garage off the alley. And it's, the fence is 6 feet high, it's right along the sidewalk, it's like a grayish fence. So before, when we had an alley behind,
Right.
we always treated that, as this is.
The house that's on the corner of, cause I was thinking the same thing. The house that's on the corner, it's yellow. It's on the corner of Lakeview. I think it's Lakeview and it's one of the streets north of the high school. It's a yellow house. They have an alley behind them and, they have like signage that they put up sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
You know which one I'm talking about. They have a 6-foot fence
Yeah,
on the,
I've been just-
it's the same thing. It's a straight and then an alley. And that was, cause I even asked about that house the last time we went over this and I was told when there's an alley behind, there's not a secondary front.
Right.
Cause I asked about that house, cause I'm like, well, why were they allowed on the corner to put up a 6-foot high fence? And that's what I was told. So I know, we have not called it a secondary front with an alley behind it in other situations, because that fence was new when I asked you that. I asked you guys in one of our meetings because I brought up that exact same property. So. Are we interpreting
I don't
wrong?
know. I think the point is we are trying to have clear, consistent definitions, and that is a street on those corners, on all of those corners. It's not an alley on that secondary front corner. I can't answer what every property has been
Okay.
treated like in the city. I think what we're trying to do is incorporate the consistency to the degree we have it. There may be instances where things have been missed or treated in a different manner, but I think that's the whole point of trying to get the definitions in line and the drawings in line to make it clear for everybody moving forward.
So we're saying the drawing is correct.
No, I think you were right.
Should be secondary.
That should be a secondary front where it says side
Yeah.
yard on the corner of the street. Assuming we would have other adjacent properties fronting that street. And if it continued on naturally, that would be the case.
Fronting the street on the front and the secondary front fronts it from that direction. So it would be fronting it on the two sides, right? Okay. And the reason, Sean, where you live, it's because you don't have anything fronting it across from you. Is that correct?
Correct.
So you don't have a secondary front because your house faces
Forest,
Forest and that other house next door to you across the street faces
forest.
Forest also. So that's the difference.
And the
I
house behind,
finally
and the house
understand that.
behind them fronts on Niles.
So I finally understand it. It's always been,
All right, so
Okay.
we're suggesting then to make that addition to this diagram.
right, SF. Okay.
Other comments from planning commissioners?
So I have a question. I looked through it again. Before, when we had the discussion, we specifically talked about fencing. So are we not talking about fencing now, or are we just assuming because if the definition says that it becomes a front yard, then the fencing rule applies, or are we going to make that very clear that on through lots, then the backyard fence is 3 feet or whatever?
So the status of a area as a secondary front yard would automatically apply the fencing regulations for a front yard, so.
So but I think there are going to be a lot of people that are going to have concerns with that, so it seems like not indicating it at all in all of this might cause people later, because I don't think that's real clear to people, because the way it's always been is, we're making a drastic change that's going to impact many people that have 6-foot high fences in what they call their backyard. And all of a sudden, they're going to all be non-compliant. I mean, there's a whole bunch of new places and new fences that now will be non-compliant. So I feel if we're going to push that, that we need to have it indicated, not just, assume that everyone's gonna understand that.
So I guess for example, you would prefer the text to read something along the lines of, however, in the case of a through lot where adjacent property fronts through lot's rear lot line, all street lines shall be considered front lines for setback purposes and for the purposes of determining maximum height of fencing.
Yeah, so the thing I think that, I stated it before, you were here, but, there are lots of properties that are, going to be non-compliant because of this. And in my mind, I mean, some were just recently approved. And there's several in particular. And anywhere there's a street, two streets like State and Red Arrow where they come together, those houses are through lots. There's like 4 or 5 houses everywhere they come together that now are going to become through lots. And one of them was just built, and their backyard that fronts Red Arrow has a 6-foot high fence. The house is brand new. It's been built within the last year or two. There's another one that comes to mind on the corner of Old Lakeshore Drive and Red Arrow, where someone spent a lot of money putting up a 6-foot high curved brick fence that now will be non-compliant because they're on a through lot. And so I think this is kind of a drastic change I get why we need to be consistent in everything, but I think these are kind of drastic changes that will be very impactful to a lot of people. And as I mentioned previously, where I live, I wouldn't have bought my house if I couldn't put up a 6-foot fence, because I came before the planning commission that many years ago and said, that I had to have a 6-foot fence. And I know that, we always say, well, Vine and Highland are considered alleys in terms of how we define them, but, there are a lot of people that will be impacted, but in a negative way by this change. So
Is there no grandfathering on the fence?
So the fences that do exist currently would be legally non-conforming, minor repairs and such as that could happen if in the event the fence were to be.
But if you wanted to replace it with a different fencing, but
with a
maintain
different
the,
fencing material, or it was destroyed and it was not repaired within a certain time window, I believe that the ordinance allots that it would have to be compliant with the ordinance at that point.
I guess though, you know, if you think about living next to Red Arrow Highway and the
Are
speed
you
of
talking, not Red Arrow,
She's talking about Lakeshore Drive. I
Lakeshore
think.
Drive, I call it Red Arrow.
Sorry, it was.
It's called Lake.
I
think
call
for
it,
Clarity
yeah.
Lakeshore, yeah.
So if you live there along, anywhere along there and you have to have, you know, what is it, 3.5 is the allowed for front yard?
Correct.
Yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't live there and have a dog or a kid and live on that, you know, so that change I think is fairly significant for people that previously front Old Lake Shore Drive and look out over the lake to now have where a 3.5 foot fence. I mean, there was a car that ran up into one of the yards and a person unfortunately passed away. You know, I can see why people would want something a little more beefy and tall to try to make it a little safer in their backyard. So that's the concerns I have with this. Personally, my proposal would be that a through lot is a through lot for the advantage of building, but if you want to use the through lot and keep your backyard as a front setback, then you have to abide by the 3.5 foot fence. If you, however, decide that you prefer to keep your backyard as a backyard with a further setback, then you're allowed to keep the 6 foot. I prefer something like that because I think we're gonna make a lot of places non-compliant. And I don't think the general public today, if they looked at the agenda and stuff, really is getting a full feel for how impactful this is going to be to them. And
So I want to make one thing clear, because I'm not sure I'm following everything. I'm trying to understand, and this doesn't change a rear yard, it changes the setback.
well, but it changes the setbacks. So if you change the setback, so let's say you want to follow the front yard setback, which allows 15 feet instead of 30, right? So if you do a through lot and then you're allowed to build closer to the property line, then your house is going to extend further toward that backyard that now is a front yard. But what my comment is that you can't have your cake and eat it too. If you want to take advantage of a lesser setback and you allow 15 feet, then your fence should only be 3.5 feet tall. But I think there are a lot of situations if you, and I think I sent something to you before, Lori, an email where I clipped a bunch of, you know, Google Earth plan view and sent it, you know, in, maybe you could forward that to Dalton, but, that, you know, shows the impact this is gonna have on a lot of properties. I personally wouldn't live on Red Arrow or
Lakeshore Drive.
Lakeshore Drive if I had to have a 3.5 foot fence with the speed of traffic and not be concerned about the safety of my, you know, children or animals being out there. So, you know, I think it's gonna be a lot of impact, and that house just built that curved wall that probably cost a lot of money.
Well, they're not gonna, if that's a permanent strike, that's not coming down.
Well, but if it ever needed
That,
repairs,
that particular wall also has a variance.
it does have a variance?
It does,
Okay, so that's,
So it needed a variance?
yes.
Why did it need a variance if it used to be a backyard? Can you explain that?
So I believe the ordinance, these alterations are largely not affecting the way that the ordinances acts and is enforced. It's more so further clarifying the purposes. So currently, as is for a through lot, this is how it would be treated. However, we're more so trying to clarify that for the purpose of the ordinance to make it more user friendly.
But if,
So the fence ordinance is in the general code of ordinances. This is something Sean brought up when we initially talked about this, where if you have a property adjacent to a through lot's rear yard, then that setback would be compatible with other properties that would be fronting in. So if that rear yard is other people's front yard area, the setbacks would all align. And I'm not saying it very well. Fence ordinance draft was then attached as part of the packet. And that might have, that was my oversight. I missed it. But we did have some work we were doing with fences as well. We got bogged down in the other part of it and it just it slipped my mind as we were getting the tech together.
So, in the case of Lake Shore Drive, right now, all of those properties have tall fences, except the one on the corner that just has the house that just sold on the corner. So are you saying they would be compliant? I get the impression they would be non-conforming, and in the future, they would be required if they needed to repair anything, like if someone ran into that new brick wall.
Yes, so that brick wall was, legally non-conforming, and when it was destroyed, they pursued variance to repair it to.
They
height
put
of
new
6
up
feet.
the whole length.
Yeah, so they received a variance for that. It would have been required to be converted to 3.5.
So I guess I didn't understand before, if the through lot wasn't in effect, how would they have needed a variance before? Because all of those properties have 6-foot fence.
I believe it's not that the through lot wasn't in effect, it's more a matter of clarifying further the
Okay,
implications of a through lot within the definition section.
so previously,
As it is treated,
we
in
were
other parts of the
following
ordinance.
the through lot? So then all of those properties that had the taller fences were non-compliant for whatever period of time they,
The house you're referring to with the serpentine brick fence.
yeah,
Had a brick fence there when they bought it a long time. ago.
okay,
Okay, the car accident destroyed the corner,
right,
and that corner was treated as a front setback.
okay.
Okay, that's why they needed to go to the zoning board for a variance.
So did the same thing occur with the brand new house that was built on South State and Lake Shore Drive? Did they get a variance also?
South State Lake Shore Drive.
South State, where they come to the point, it's the same situation. They're through lots. It's a Pantalera house. It's blue.
Yeah, that's, 3 in,
Yeah, so it's a through lot also.
yeah.
And it has a 6-foot fence fronting Lake Shore Drive. So my question
But
is,
not all the way up to there.
It-
There-
South
it-
State
they're
Lake Shore
back.
Drive, do not meet. I live on South State.
what I'm asking though is they have a 6-foot fence. So that would be that would be a front yard on Lake Shore Drive. Because it's a through lot
South
now.
State,
It's
Lakeview,
still
Back.
their rear yard.
It's 2
They
streets
have a
away.
front
Main
yard.
Street.
Right, it's still their
Where
rear
state hits
yard.
Main.
That's
It's
not South
just
State, or
goes
State hits.
Up to where that point is, where the setback.
So you're saying if you push your fence back 30 feet or 15 feet, you can have a 6-foot fence?
Let's say the front setback is 15,
Yes.
okay, in that area it is in the front, and on her, there, it's back, and then she started her 6-foot.
The 6-foot fence parallels Lake Shore. So are you saying after you get past 15 feet, you can put a parallel fence to Lake Shore? 6 foot high? Okay, because I thought,
Okay,
okay, so I think I'm gonna say that I would like to see the fence part combined with this before we move forth with it, so we can
All right.
see how
Thank-
it, that's just my opinion.
thank you. Other comments from commissioners regarding the lots and the definitional changes that have been proposed?
I guess a kind of a question for maybe Ms. Wilder and Ms. Schmidt, do we feel we need to define alleys
No,
or identify, not define, I mean identify?
there had been a question put to the planning commission years ago about, defining Highland and, Lake Lane, and I think some of other areas down
Fine.
Fine, and I think there was another one across the channel, as alleys to make it clear, and I think the planning commission defined as anything to put it in as part of the ordinance. There is an interpretation that the zoning administrator has made with some of those unusual locations. Some of them truly, I think Vine Street is called the street, it really isn't a street, it is.
16-foot wide.
Yeah, and others, yeah, so I mean, there is some confusion that could be brought back for clarification purposes as well, if the planning commission wants us to look at that further.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Ladies and gentlemen, what's your pleasure with regard to the proposed text amendments requested and before us today? Mr. Miller, you want to wish to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion.
No.
I move to recommend approval of the ordinance to amend Article 2 definitions, Section 2.3 definitions, and Article 5 Schedule of District Regulations, Section 5.2 Schedule of District Regulations to modify definitions for rear lot lines and rear yards as they relate to through lots, and update associated figures for clarity in the zoning ordinance of the city of St. Joseph as proposed by staff, finding that the recommended language has satisfied all the standards set forth under section 22.3 of the city of St. Joseph zoning ordinance.
All right, thank you, Mr. Miller. I have a motion by Mr. Miller. Do I have support for his motion? Mr. Plichter supports the motion. Is there further discussion on the motion?
I do have a question. I assume that would see with clarification on figure 2.8A. Secondary front.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you happen to have the page, packet page?
That
number?
would be packet page 58. Bottom left
Yep.
corner of the top picture.
With that correction or addition?
I will amend my motion to include.
Mr. Plicker, will you so amend your support?
Will.
Any other discussion on the motion? Hearing none, the clerk may call the roll.
Chair Hartzell,
Yes?
Vice Chair Hebert.
Yes.
Commissioner Burzak,
No.
Commissioner Rice,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Flintoff,
Yes.
Commissioner Porter,
Yes.
Commissioner Rurik is absent, Commissioner Miller.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda, Planning Commission Annual Report draft provided. My goodness, we were busy and productive. Fabulous.
A quick comment regarding the presented annual report.
Yep.
It was noted by staff that there was a error under attendance, packet page 76, page 3 of the report.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It lists attendance for the year 2024.
Yeah.
This was developed by the previous zoning administrator prior to their departure. It was reviewed, but this was missed. We would like to also review the attendance records to ensure they are correct.
You want to just hold this till May? Yeah. What's the, I mean, it's not like it's getting published. I mean,
We would be satisfied if you'd like to table it or if you'd like to approve it as
Why-
amended.
I don't know. Why don't we just hold it till May, do what you need
Yeah.
to do and bring it.
Yeah, there's also on packet page 86. So maybe would you want to look at that? Also, it talks about site amendments in 2024 instead of 2025. Packet page 86. So I'm not sure if those are accurate. Cause I had circled those to mention that, so I don't know if they're right, because even the table lists 20 to 24, but it's talking about things done in 24 instead of, and I'm assuming that was meant to be 25, but I don't know.
Yeah, we were
You know, it sounds like a lot of this was accumulated. We've had a shift in personnel and a lot of this was done accumulated a certain way and a certain
Yeah,
time.
so it may even be accurate, but just the wrong date.
What, yeah, why don't you take the month, take it and bring it back in May and give yourself the opportunity to kind of review it and maybe even style it in your own form. Nothing's cast in stone. This is not statutorily mandated to be a certain way. We have a little flexibility on that, I don't believe. We may have to do one, but I don't think the style and manner in which we do it is dictated by.
Yeah, I think the requirements for the report are laid out. But the formatting.
Yeah, because it looks like Patsy's piece of the pie on the graphic on page 76 is unduly large.
Absolutely warranted. That's what happens when you never miss a meeting.
Yeah. Mine should be the same size. as
Right,
that.
and it doesn't appear to be, so that,
Well, and we'll.
Well, but I'm at the other side of the block, see?
But you also how I feel about pie charts. So I'm just saying, if our new administration does not want to do a pie chart, That's fine with me too. Just list who was here and what the percentage, et cetera. That's fine.
Respectively.
Yeah, did anyone have any objection if we just let them regroup and bring that back to us in May?
No, not,
Commissioners, just a quick point of clarification, for the text amendments, was public comment open for those?
Yeah, I opened the public hearing as you were walking in with staff members. You want me to close it? It's closed.
We just, getting back when we're on the moment, I
right.
wasn't sure there was public comment that was taken.
We can certainly, I will be happy to entertain it. We can certainly reopen the public hearing and take public comment. We have public comment.
That was the second public hearing though, wasn't it? Didn't we open a public hearing the first time we reviewed that?
Yeah, actually, I think, no, I don't think we had a public hearing.
No, this was.
This was the first public hearing.
We did take.
We
All runs
never
together.
we never stop anybody from sharing. So is there anyone here that would like to talk about the definitions, lot lines, yards, setbacks, definitional text amendments to the ordinance? Please, we will open it up. We will take comment. If we have to adjust our action, we will so do. Anyone?
You voted before public comment. I do have public comment, but I believe I will open up the city.
I think the point of opening this up now is that was an oversight, so.
It was an oversight.
As the chair stated,
But the vote is already been.
no, the chair just stated, the meeting's not over, the vote can be changed.
yeah.
Vote could be changed. If we become convinced that there's an issue, we can,
Correct. I will add that technically, the text amendments, when it goes to the city commission, will not be a formal public hearing. There will still be an opportunity for public comment, I believe, but it won't be in the form of a formal public hearing,
Yeah.
so.
purely an oversight. Mr. Sanderson, we would welcome your comments. They are often instructional, and if we need to do something, now would be a great time. We'd be happy to accommodate you, sir.
It's actually the second time you've done this, and the second time the city attorney got appointed.
Okay, I don't remember the first time. When was that?
He's been, you missed many meetings here, I'm not sure how long ago, but this year.
This year? No. Again, we offer that to you, sir, and the floor is yours if you wish, sir. Done, okay, all right. All right, next item on the agenda. Update on status of temporary seasonal structures text amendments.
Yes, so quick refresher on these. This was recommended for approval by the planning commission on December 5th, 2025. It was then heard by the city commission on January 8th, 2026. They had tabled the first reading of the text amendments as they had concerns that there wasn't enough information before them to really understand the scope of parcels that the text amendments would be applicable to. Then at the March 16th, 2026 meeting, the first reading was continued. There was discussion, staff presented a memo kind of detailing the scope of parcels that would feasibly be able to put up a temporary structure per the guidelines of the proposed text amendments. Quick correction in this section of the staff memo. So at the March 16th meeting, we did make a motion to approve the first reading. There was a bit of confusion procedurally. I state here that the motion was null due to it not being the second reading. That is incorrect. They had motioned to approve the first reading. So that will go before them again for the second reading on the 6th. That being said, they did make that motion with the intent that staff would review the text section of text again to come up with a solution that would provide a more subjective review. At this time, staff subjective controlled review that would kind of allow for a more of an analysis on a parcel by parcel basis for which sites are approved for a temporary structure. At this time, staff's thought is to require a special use permit. So that would require review by the planning commission and approval by the city commission. Staff does have concerns with requiring a special use approval due to the time sensitive nature of a temporary approval. With that said, I believe there are some potential solutions that could possibly accommodate make that less of a burden to applicants, such as allowing the temporary approval to be approved on a recurring basis seasonally. So we are currently working to come up with a solution that will more long-term satisfy the city commission. With that said, they did and do seem to intend on approving the text amendments as is, though they may be edited, again, that section in the future.
What then are you looking for us for today? What would you like?
We're just providing you an update on city commission action on the item and to let you know that this is another text amendment that may be coming forward again, possibly at the May 7th meeting or the June 4th meeting, pending action by the city commission and staff's efforts on the endeavor.
And if I'm reading this correctly, it would appear there's no significant concern or concern of any kind with Mr. Patel's request that this is sort of a bit of apples and oranges. Am I,
For Mr. Patel's purposes, this is not affecting him, as the amendments are potentially going to be approved for the second reading, based on the city commission's discussion and intent at the March 16th meeting. At which point he would be able to submit for an application for a temporary approval.
maybe coming back for a more general look at some of the parts of that? Okay. Other thoughts, comments, or public comment on anything to do with that? All right. Next item on the agenda, letter from the Sustainability Committee regarding accessory dwelling units. First of all, do we know who is, I know we know, someone knows who is on the Sustainability Committee?
I personally have very limited familiarity, if any other members of staff are.
Right.
Kayla Griff staffs it, but as far as the members of the sustainability, I can look them up real quick, but I don't know the members, so.
I was just curious.
Do you want me to look them up real quick?
Sure.
Couple seconds.
But while she's doing that, that can come later, what thoughts and is staff looking just FYI, or are you looking for?
It was asked by the Sustainability Committee to have this forwarded to you all for review. If you have any discussions or comments related to it, that may be shared at this time. But otherwise, the letter has been provided for your review.
Okay, thank you.
Check out the numbers. So it's Kim Jorgensen Gain, Michael Fernandez, Donna Rousel, sorry. Kyle Mundy, Sarah Corey, Jill Fletcher, Peter Hagsma, and then as I said, Kayla is the staff coordinator, so. Yeah.
Thanks.
So did any of the previous discussion about the surveys and everything for ADUs, has that all been on pause? Because our initial meeting, we felt that it was important to have the surveys generated and everything with the neighborhoods and all different things that we commented on, and we actually critiqued what the nature of the survey would include and things we wanted added. Did anything happen with any of that?
No, we have had a staff transition since basically December, and so
Yeah.
that the city manager wanted us to focus on this group in particular, to focus on business items and things that could wait too late.
Yeah.
Right.
because-
Well, that's what I thought, because and then I'm confused about the ADU thing.
Well, that came from the sustainability committee, so I think they're just.
Don't forget about us. We're heading, it'll be back to us
Sometime.
sooner rather than later, but. Are there any other thoughts or comments about that? And thanks, Kelly, for checking on that. Other comments? Any other business to bring before the commission or staff comments for us?
Does the city attorney, are you satisfied that we provided public comment opportunities for the lots and yards
Yes,
topic?
I mean, yes, we might have had a little glitchiness, but the opportunity was there, so yes.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? What are we looking at in terms of May? Do we have any coming attractions?
No applications have been submitted at this time, though early discussions have been projected for at least one application for review, in addition to the possibility of the text amendments for temporary structures possibly coming before you all again.
Alright.
So text amendment,
Ms.
so
Bridget.
for ADUs, we would amend the text before we did surveys and all that to gather information? Is that what you mean?
No,
What do you mean text amendment for ADUs?
So I have not had discussions regarding text amendments for ADUs. The Sustainability Committee seems to believe it to be a good idea for the benefit of the city. Their comments are not in regards to like necessarily an explicit request for change, that the commission believes that's something we can pursue.
I think he
Staff
was
is happy
talking
to-
about text amendments for the seasonal temporary structures might be on
Oh,
the
okay.
May
Oh, I
agenda.
thought you were saying for, okay, I get it. Okay, yeah, because I think before we can do anything with the ADUs, we're kind of wanting to get that survey and stuff. So if it's on pause temporarily, I thought that's what you had stated.
Correct, yeah.
Temporary,
My reference for next.
temporary
meeting
structures,
is
you mean?
probably temporary
I
structures
got
being-
you. Sorry. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, anything else? Anything staff for us?
There'll be comments.
Then do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Ms. Burzak. Do I have support for a motion? Miller supports the motion. Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you all very much for your time today.
Get better.